You can shift your nervous system out of stress mode in about 60 seconds, and the tool to do it is built into your own breath. Researchers at Stanford tested this in 2023 against meditation and other breathing methods. One technique won. It's called the physiological sigh, and it works faster than anything else they measured because it pulls a hidden lever in your lungs that your brain reads as a direct command to calm down. Most people have never heard of it. Most people believe calming down is a matter of willpower, that if you're anxious or wound up, you just need to think your way out of it. Talk yourself down. Push the feeling away, and when that fails, as it almost always does, you conclude you're just not disciplined enough. Here's what almost nobody tells you. You cannot think your way out of a stress response, because the stress response isn't happening in the thinking part of your brain. It's happening underneath it, in an older, faster system that doesn't speak the language of logic. Telling a panicking nervous system to calm down is like shouting instructions at a car engine. Wrong system. It doesn't hear you. But that system does respond to one thing you can control directly, your breath. And this is the part that should grab you. Your breathing is the only function in your entire body that runs automatically, but that you can also override at will. Your heartbeat, you can't change it by deciding to. Your digestion? No. Your stress hormones? No. But your breath runs on its own and takes orders from you. That makes it a control panel, a direct line into a system you were told you couldn't reach. Dr. Andrew Huberman's lab at Stanford, working with Dr. David Spiegel, ran a controlled study published in 2023 comparing different daily breathing practices and mindfulness meditation. The breathing patterns outperformed meditation for improving mood and lowering physiological stress, and the standout was a specific pattern of breath that calmed people fastest. The real question is why a particular way of breathing can override your stress response in under a minute. The answer is hidden inside your lungs, in a structure most people don't even know they have. Let me explain what's actually happening when you're stressed, because once you see the machinery, the 60-second reset stops sounding like a gimmick and starts sounding like physics. Your nervous system has two main settings. One is the gas pedal, the sympathetic branch, your fight or flight system. It speeds your heart, tightens your muscles, sharpens your focus, and dumps stress hormones into your blood to prepare you for action. The other is the brake, the parasympathetic branch, your rest and digest system. It slows your heart, relaxes you, and lets your body repair and digest. You need both. The problem in modern life is that the gas pedal gets stuck down. The threats never stop coming. Emails, bills, traffic, worry, and your system rarely gets to hit the brake. Here's the key player nobody talks about, a nerve called the vagus nerve. Picture it as the main cable connecting your brain to your heart, your lungs, and your gut, the longest nerve of its kind in your body, wandering down from your brainstem through your chest and into your belly. The vagus nerve is the primary cable of your brake system. When it's active, your heart slows and your body relaxes. The whole game of calming down quickly is really about how fast you can activate that nerve. And here's the beautiful part. Your breath pulls directly on the vagus nerve. Every time you inhale, your heart speeds up slightly. Every time you exhale, it slows down. That's not a feeling, it's measurable, and doctors have a name for it: respiratory sinus arrhythmia. The exhale is when your brake engages. So the secret to calming down fast isn't just breathing, it's making your exhales longer and more complete than your inhales. Long exhale, stronger brake. This is the Feynman's simple core of it. Inhaling is the gas, exhaling is the brake. When you stretch out your exhale, you're pressing the brake pedal of your nervous system on purpose. Slow your exhale, slow your heart, calm your brain. That's the entire mechanism, and it's why nearly every effective calming breath technique on Earth shares one feature: a long, slow exhale. Now, why does the physiological sigh beat everything else? Here's where the hidden structure comes in. Deep in your lungs are millions of tiny air sacs called alveoli. Think of them as microscopic balloons where oxygen enters your blood and carbon dioxide leaves. When you're stressed, breathing shallow and fast for a while, many of these little balloons collapse and stay deflated. That trapped, deflated state lets carbon dioxide build up in your blood. And rising carbon dioxide is itself a powerful trigger that tells your brain something is wrong, ramping up the feeling of anxiety. You're in a loop. Stress collapses the air sacs, the collapsed sacs raise CO2, and the CO2 deepens the stress. The physiological sigh breaks that loop in one move. It's a double inhale, a normal breath through the nose, then a second short sip of air on top of it, followed by a long, full exhale through the mouth. That second little inhale is the trick. It pops the collapsed air sacs back open, re-inflating them like giving a deflated balloon one extra puff. Suddenly, you have far more surface area to dump carbon dioxide, and the long exhale flushes it out. CO2 drops. The alarm quiets. The vagus brake engages. All in one breath. Your body actually does this on its own. Read that again. You sigh automatically every few minutes without noticing, and you sigh harder after crying or when you finally relax. That's your body re-inflating its own lungs and resetting itself. The physiological sigh just does it deliberately, on demand, when you need it most. But the breath is only the first layer of this reset, because there's a second mechanism, something that happens in your brain's threat center that explains why this works even when you're genuinely frightened. And what's happening up there is stranger than what's happening in your lungs. The second reason this works lives in a small, almond-shaped structure deep in your brain called the amygdala. It's your threat detector, the smoke alarm of your mind. And it has a surprising weakness you can exploit. Here's the mechanism. The amygdala is constantly scanning for danger, and when it senses a threat, it hijacks your whole system, slamming the gas pedal before your thinking brain even knows what happened. This is why you jump at a sudden noise before you consciously register it. The amygdala is fast and primitive, and it doesn't wait for permission. When it's running the show, the rational part of your brain, the prefrontal cortex, right behind your forehead, goes partly offline. That's why you can't think clearly when you're panicking. Your smart brain has been benched. Now here's the exploit. The amygdala reads your body to decide how scared to be. It doesn't just send signals down, it listens to signals coming up from your body. A racing heart, shallow breath, and tense muscles all feed back to the amygdala as evidence. See, we are in danger. But the reverse works too. When you deliberately slow your breath and lengthen your exhale, your slowing heart sends a different message upward. The threat is passing. Stand down. You're essentially feeding the smoke alarm calm data until it switches off. Think of it this way. The amygdala and your body are in a conversation, and normally the amygdala does most of the talking. But your breath lets you interrupt and start feeding it the lines you want it to hear. You change the body, and the brain follows the body. Here's the empathy moment. If you've ever been gripped by anxiety and felt completely powerless, heart pounding, mind racing, unable to talk yourself down no matter how hard you tried, that wasn't weakness. That was your thinking brain being locked out by a faster system. You were trying to use a tool that had been temporarily disconnected. The breath works precisely because it's the one tool that stays connected to you, even when everything else goes offline. It's the back door into a locked room. If this is making sense, and you want the full protocol, the exact step-by-step reset, plus 2 other techniques for when the sigh isn't enough, subscribe now. It's coming in just a few minutes, and these are tools you'll use for the rest of your life. There's another layer here worth knowing, especially after 50. Your stress system tends to get more reactive and slower to recover with age. Researchers have found that the calming branch, that vagal brake, often weakens over the years, measured by something called heart rate variability, which is the natural beat-to-beat variation in your heart rhythm. Higher variability means a healthier, more flexible nervous system. Lower variability is linked to stress, aging, and worse health outcomes. The good news is striking. Slow, controlled breathing has been shown in multiple studies to raise heart rate variability, essentially strengthening that brake the more you practice. The research is still evolving on the long-term effects, but the short-term shift is well documented. The thing aging weakens, your breath can help rebuild, for free, in minutes a day. So now you understand the 2 real drivers. A breath that physically engages your vagus nerve and flushes the carbon dioxide feeding your anxiety. And an amygdala that reads your calming body and stands down. 2 systems. One tool reaches both. But none of this matters if you don't know the exact way to do it, because there's a right way and a wrong way. And the difference comes down to a few precise details most people get wrong. And those details are what separate a reset that works from one that does nothing. What almost nobody talks about is that there isn't just one reset. There are different breathing tools for different states, and using the wrong one can backfire. The physiological sigh is the fastest, but it's worth understanding why it beats the famous alternatives. Take the popular box breathing used by some military and first responder programs. In for 4, hold for 4, out for 4, hold for 4. It works and it builds calm and focus over a few minutes. But notice the equal counts and the holds. It's designed for sustained steadiness, not emergency reset. When you're genuinely spiking, those breath holds can actually feel worse, because holding a breath when CO2 is already high adds to the alarm. The physiological sigh has no holds and front-loads the relief into a single breath. That's why it wins for speed. Here's the most overlooked detail of all, and it's the heart of why the sigh works. The emphasis must be on the exhale. Remember, the exhale is the brake. Most people, when told to take a deep breath to calm down, do the opposite of what helps. They take a huge inhale and barely exhale. A big inhale alone actually presses the gas pedal. It's the long, complete exhale that engages the vagus nerve. So if you've ever taken a deep breath to calm down and felt no better, this is likely why. You were pumping the gas, not the brake. The deep breath everyone tells you to take? Done wrong, it makes you more stressed. Read that again. There's a second piece almost no one mentions, where you breathe from. When you're stressed, you breathe high in your chest, shoulders rising, shallow, fast, and it keeps those lower air sacs collapsed. The calming breath comes from your belly. As you inhale, your stomach should expand outward, not your chest. This is diaphragmatic breathing, and it matters because your diaphragm, the dome-shaped muscle under your lungs, sits right near a major hub of the vagus nerve. When your diaphragm moves fully, it gently massages and stimulates that nerve with every breath. Shallow chest breathing skips this entirely. And here's a counterintuitive truth about resetting your nervous system that goes beyond breathing. Your nervous system also reads your environment and your body position. Lengthening your exhale calms you, but so does extending your gaze. When you're stressed, your vision narrows and locks in. Tunnel vision is literally part of the fight or flight response. Deliberately softening your eyes and looking out at a wide, distant view sends its own safety signal to the brainstem, a phenomenon researchers call panoramic or optic flow. This is partly why a walk outside, looking at the horizon, calms you in a way pacing a small room never will. Some scientists are still mapping exactly how strong this effect is, but the link between wide visual fields and reduced threat response is increasingly clear. This is the reframe that changes everything. You are not at the mercy of your stress. You've simply never been handed the controls. The nervous system feels like weather, something that happens to you. But it's far more like a machine with levers, and the breath is the biggest lever of all, sitting right there, available every second of your life. Some caution is fair here. Breathing techniques are powerful for everyday stress, anxiety spikes, and winding down, but they're not a replacement for treatment of serious anxiety disorders, trauma, or panic disorder, which often need professional support. And if you have a respiratory or heart condition, check with your doctor before practicing intense breath work. The research is genuinely still developing on the limits. But for the ordinary, daily, stuck-in stress feeling that millions live with, the evidence is strong and the tool is free. So the question becomes, if you have these levers, how do you actually pull them, step by step, when stress hits? Here's the protocol. Learn the first one cold. It's your emergency reset. The others are for building a calmer baseline over time. First, the physiological sigh, your 60-second reset. Do this the instant you feel stress rising. Inhale through your nose normally, filling your lungs about 2/3. Then, without exhaling, take a second, short, sharp sip of air through your nose on top of that first breath. This is the part that reinflates your air sacs. Now exhale slowly and completely through your mouth, longer than the inhale, letting all the air drain out. That's one cycle. Do 1 to 3 of them. Research suggests even a single sigh shifts your state, and a minute of them reliably calms most people. This is the one to memorize. Second, extended exhale breathing for ongoing calm. When you have a few minutes, breathe in through your nose for a count of 4, then out through your mouth for a count of 6 or 8. The exact numbers don't matter. What matters is the exhale being clearly longer than the inhale. Do this for 2 to 5 minutes. This is your daily vagal tune-up, and done regularly, it strengthens that break over weeks. Third, breathe from your belly, always. Place one hand on your chest, one on your stomach. As you inhale, the bottom hand should rise and the top hand should stay still. If your chest is doing the moving, you're breathing shallow. Practice this lying down until it becomes natural, then carry it into daily life. Fourth, pair it with your eyes. When you do your reset, if you can, look up and out at something far away, a window, a horizon, the sky. Let your gaze go wide and soft. The combination of long exhale and panoramic vision is stronger than either alone. Fifth, practice before you need it. Here's the part most people skip. Don't wait for a crisis to learn this. Practice the physiological sigh a few times a day when you're calm, after meals, at red lights, before bed. That way, when real stress hits, the tool is automatic instead of something you're fumbling to remember. Your nervous system learns the pathway through repetition. If even one of these was new to you, hit the like button. It tells the algorithm to show this to more people who are walking around stuck in stress and have never been handed these controls. Dr. Andrew Huberman has spent years translating this research for the public, and his core message is consistent. The breath is the fastest, most reliable, drug-free tool you have to control your own state in real time. You now understand something most people never learn, that the calm you keep chasing isn't a matter of willpower or personality. It's a set of physical levers, and you've had your hands on them this whole time. Step back and look at what this really means. For most of your life, you've probably treated your inner state as something that happens to you. The anxiety arrives, the tension builds, the racing mind takes over, and all you can do is wait it out or push it down. That feeling of being at the mercy of your own nervous system is one of the quietest sources of suffering there is. But it was never the whole truth. Underneath the storm, there's a control panel, and the largest lever on it is something you do 20,000 times a day without thinking. Your breath was never just for oxygen. It's the one bridge between the part of you that worries and the part of you that runs the body. The one place where your will and your biology actually meet. And here's what I find genuinely moving. This costs nothing. No prescription, no device, no appointment, no monthly fee. The most powerful tool for calming your own nervous system was installed in you before you were born, and it's been waiting your whole life for someone to show you how to use it on purpose. I want to hear from you. Drop a comment below. When you're stressed, what's the first thing you notice in your body? Is it your chest, your shoulders, your stomach, your jaw? I'd bet a lot of you have a tell you never connected to your breathing until right now. Here's the truth to carry with you. You were never trapped in the storm. You just never found the lever. Share this with someone who carries too much stress and thinks they have no control over it. 60 seconds and one breath might change their whole day. And if you haven't subscribed yet, do it. What I've been researching for next week builds directly on this, and it's something I've spent months putting together. Your calm was always inside you. It was only waiting for you to breathe it out.